The death toll in Hawaii is now at 99, and that number is expected to keep going up.
Rescue and recovery teams continue, we're told, to sift through the ashes in Maui while remnants of the fires remain burning. Maui County reports that the Kula fire has burned roughly 700 acres with hot spots in hard-to-reach places. That's about 60% contained. Now, the Lahaina fire has scorched more than 2,100 acres and is 85% contained. A third fire is 100% contained.
Tonight, KCAL News reporter Jeff Nguyen is live in Maui with the latest for us. Jeff.
Susie and Jeff, about 80 people who had been sheltering at this church have been moved into hotels. In the meantime, FEMA says about 3,000 people have applied for federal assistance, and that number is expected to grow. Soldiers are combing through the burned out areas of Lahaina searching for victims. The death toll is expected to rise as they make their way through the scorched rubble. At least 1,300 are still unaccounted for.
They will find 10 to 20 people per day probably until they finish. It's hard to recognize anybody, but they're able to determine if someone did perish.
Survivors are still processing their trauma as they contemplate rebuilding their lives.
It went from blue skies to gray to black. And all we seen was embers from fire that we had no idea what's going on. There was no siren, nothing.
There were warning signs before the fire as 80-mile-per-hour winds lashed power lines, but officials did not shut off the power or stage fire crews before the flames tore through Lahaina as fast as a mile a minute. More than 4,000 people are in need of housing. Some evacuees are staying at this church where donations are pouring in to help them get back on their feet.
To get the essential needs out to the people who really need it, we are working on a coordinated effort.
Longtime resident Fleetwood Mac founder Mick Fleetwood lost his restaurant here.
Selfishly, I haven't lost a family member. I didn't lose my house. It could have happened, but it didn't happen. So you immediately go like, I'm really lucky. Now what the hell can I do?
He told CBS News he's committed to helping to preserve and rebuild Maui. Officials say that process will cost billions and take years. And tonight, officials say that 25% of the search area has been cleared, and by the end of Monday, 80% of the electricity on Maui should be restored. Of course, that is not counting the areas that were completely destroyed. Jeff and Susie, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Jeff Nguyen live for us in Maui tonight. Thank you very much for that update.